Good evening, everyone. The theme for the message this evening is titled, taken from the book of Daniel, chapter 3. Title of the brief message for this evening: We will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold that you have set up. We will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold you have set up. Daniel chapter 3 verses 16 to verse 18 says, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego replied to him, that is to the king, if we are thrown into the burning furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it, and he will deliver us from your majesty's hand. But even if he does not, we want you to know, your majesty, that we will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold you have set up. This evening I wish to briefly look at the story about Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego, and then relate it to our situation today regarding what it means to be part of the assembly of confessing congregations. And then we're going to open it up for a brief time of questions or sharing, and then after that Hanya will lead us through a time of prayer where we will commit our time together and the church as a whole to God in prayer. A short message, a time of sharing or any questions, and then a corporate or collective time of prayer. The story of Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego is a story that is familiar, I believe, to each one of us. In Daniel chapter 3, we read of a situation where King Nebuchadnezzar made a huge statue of gold, about 27 meters high and 2.7 meters wide. He then summoned all the leaders together, satraps, prefects, governors, advisors, treasurers, judges, magistrates, and all the other provisional officials to come together for the dedication of this image that the king had set up. And so all the leaders came together and assembled for this special dedication service for the image, or the statue. Then the king's herald loudly proclaimed these words: Nations and peoples of every language, this is what you are commanded to do. As soon as you hear the sound of the horn, the flute, the cipher, the lyre, the harpet, the pipe, and all kinds of music, you must fall down and worship the image of gold that King Nebuchadnezzar has set up. Whoever does not fall down and worship the image will immediately be thrown into the burning furnace. And sure enough, as soon as they heard the sound of the horn, the flute, the lyre, the harp, and all kinds of music, all the nations and peoples of every language fell down and worshipped the image of gold that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. And so the king achieved the unity that he had sought. There were, however, 3 men that did not bow down and worship the image. They remained standing while all the others bowed before the image. And so a formal complaint was submitted to the king about these three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. The complaint submitted the following charges against these three men. In the first charge, the complainant argued that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego had been disrespectful to the king's orders. You could say that the charge was sedition, overt conduct that goes against the orders of the king. Secondly, the three men were charged for not serving the image or the statue. Perhaps charged for not actually bowing down before the image. And thirdly, they are charged, of course, for not worshipping the statue, for not worshipping the image of gold that the king had set up. Justice demanded that the three men should not be condemned on hearsay alone. And therefore, despite the king's furious anger and his rage, Nebuchadnezzar gave the three men an opportunity to respond, or to recant, or to apologize for their sin of not bowing to the image. So how did the three men respond? Firstly, despite the complaint saying that the three men were disrespectful to the king by not paying due attention to him, the three men dismissed the truthfulness of the charge by still speaking respectfully to the king. Before they even respond to the charges, they refer to Nebuchadnezzar as Your Majesty, King Nebuchadnezzar. Though they disagreed strongly with the king on his policy towards the image, they still upheld the king's dignity by referring him to his title, Your Majesty. Often when we disagree with someone, we can be quick to attack the person's character or attack his or her position. But Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego did not. They still spoke respectfully to the king. They still upheld his office despite disagreeing with him. Secondly, the three men responded to the king, King Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you in this matter. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it, and he will deliver us from your majesty's hand. But even if he does not, we want you to know, your majesty, that we will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold that you have set up. Quite an amazing statement and witness. Again, speaking respectfully, they reaffirm their trust in God that he will deliver them from the blazing furnace. And then we hear the amazing second part of their statement. But even if God does not save them, they will still stand firm to what they believe to be true. That is, they already understand that they are going to die. But this does not faze them one bit. For them, standing up for the truth is more important than their own lives. And thirdly, of course, they say to the king, even if God does not save us, we will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold that you have set up. It is essential to understand their stance on this matter should not be understood as a deliberate act of rebellious defiance against the king. That is, they are not just doing this to stick it up the king's authority. It is not done as an act of evil intent against the king. This is not hatred against authority per se, such as hatred against the police, for example, which often characterizes our young people today. They hate police because it stands for authority. So sometimes there's a natural hatred towards them. But this is not a case of hatred against authority as such. No, they still respect authority. What they are simply doing in modern terms is dissenting to the decision of the king. Dissent is an important word that is within our own polity as the United Church. And dissent also has a legal definition to it. If one judge wishes to submit a dissenting voice against the majority of the judges, we call that a minority report. To dissent is to simply say that you cannot agree with a particular decision. You're not being disrespectful. You're not just saying, you are saying that your conscience does not allow you to accept a particular decision. That is what dissent means. To dissent is what Martin Luther did in 1521, when charges were brought against him by the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church wanted Martin Luther to recant and to take back all that he had said against the theology of the Catholic Church regarding indulgences or regarding the selling of salvation for money. But Luther did not recant. Instead, he said these famous words. And Luther says, I quote, "Unless I am convinced by testimonies of the Scriptures or by clear arguments that I am in error, I cannot withdraw. For I am subject to the Scriptures I have quoted. My conscience is captive to the Word of God. It is unsafe and dangerous to do anything against one's conscience. Here I stand. I cannot do otherwise, so help me God. Amen." This is what it means to dissent, like Martin Luther, in the line of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. From that act of dissent by Martin Luther came all the other Christian denominations that were not part of the Catholic Church. And we are all now grouped under the general title of Protestants. There are Catholics and Protestants. If you break down the word Protestant, you find two words: protest and. We are Protestants by nature, because of history. In that beginning with Martin Luther, we stood up against, or we protested against the false teaching within the Catholic Church at that time. What was the result of these three men's dissent? What is the result or the consequence? And this picture tells the story, of course. Two things both came true. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego put it. Firstly, they are indeed thrown into the fiery furnace because of their stance and because of their faith. But the amazing thing is they are not killed. God saves them. God is present with them. And they are indeed saved because of their faith. Next slide. In Isaiah 43 verse 2, there is a beautiful verse which says this, highlighting our faith and our hope in God. "When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. The flames will not set you ablaze." Next slide. Finally, how does the situation of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego relate to our situation at present? Friday the 13th of July 2018, a day we have termed Black Friday, the National Assembly of the United Church erected a huge statue of gold and named it diversity, religious and ethical diversity. This is the new God that has been instituted and now beginning to be enshrined into every aspect in the life of the church. And now the assembly wants all its members and all its congregations to bow to this new God called diversity. As the assembly of confessing congregations, standing in the tradition of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego as dissenters and not rebels, we say respectfully, directly to the President and the Assembly of the United Church, we will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold that you have set up. Amen. God will give us courage and strength to stand firm on God's truth. Amen. This time I'd like to just open up if there are any questions specifically related to the ACC, or if there's anything, any sharing that somebody would like to say in relation to the topic. You are most welcome to share or to ask at this time before we enter into the time of prayer. Is there a microphone? Share something, please come to the front. We'll be daunting. But this is a good place to develop our courage and our boldness to speak and to share anything that is on our hearts at this time.
Peter Lyon here, Cornerstone Christian Church, Deception Bay. For us, the journey with the ACC started in 2017. I'd been asked by people in our congregation what our stance was towards same-sex marriage, as they were calling it then, same-gender marriage now. After contemplating it for a while, I put a little post up on Facebook. And often when I put posts up, 30 or 40 people would read it, and I'd get a couple of likes, and I thought, yeah, that's okay. That particular post is still getting hit occasionally, and has now passed 37,500 hits. It was where, as a church, we took our stand and said, no, we did not say that. we said that marriage is between a man and a woman, and it is a commitment for a lifetime. Out of that, we started to be encouraged by other people around us. And we were invited to look at the ACC, and we began our journey as a church that would soon become a member of the ACC. Now, in many years of pastoring, I've seen all the different church growth strategies But I want to tell you, when we got to Deception Bay, we were tired. We're getting old, almost retired. And I said to this church, no strategies. I'll just simply preach the scriptures and love the people. And this church, Cornerstone, is a growing church, is a loving church, and it is a church that honours God. We are standing on the word of God. Now we are having people come and join our uniting church because they love to hear the word of God preached. And we have had people come from other denominations. In the past, people have left uniting churches to go to Baptist churches and go to Assembly of God churches. But today, we're discovering that when united churches become assembly of confessing congregations and stand firmly on the word of God, people leave those denominations to join our united church because we are standing on God's word. Amen.
Thank you, Headley, for that really encouraging word of God. Logan said Tuli from ACC Sunnybank. And give thanks to God. Reminded of the words of Isaiah 40. The people are like grass that withers and fades, but the word of God stands forever. On Friday, the 9th of August, our congregation changed its name. We are known as the Assembly of Confessing Congregations of the United Church, Sunnybank, or ACC Sunnybank. And there was a ceremony of that event and a ceremony of removal of United Church Logan from our church. It is an act of prayer. As we've heard from the Word of God tonight, that we worship God. We stand firm in God's truth for the world. I give thanks to God for the people of God. Continue to humbly confess the Lordship of Jesus Christ, no matter what is happening. As a word has been shared with us, we give thanks to Edwin for the leadership, the word of God shared with us. We cannot worship any other gods. But we worship the one true God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, one God forever. Give thanks to God for the word of formation, and give thanks to God. Amen.
How we going? Uniting Church, and we are also members of the ACC. I'm also the chair of the council there at the Malula United Church. Headley had got me the job. And the only reason why Headley got me the job was to fire the people that were on the council. So I fired them. biblical theology of the ACC, there's the door. Now, I know it sounds harsh, but let me be truthful. The Uniting Church of the Maluba Uniting is based on the Word of God. If you don't believe in the resurrection, what's the point? If you don't believe in the death of Jesus Christ, what's the point? If you don't believe that the Word of God is sacred and honourable, what is the point? If you believe that man and women should get married, good for you. Man and man, I don't know, that's not in my Bible. Okay, let me get to the point. The ACC, as members of the council there, we had many names that we wanted to choose to call ourselves, and we're running out of ideas. And if you've got some ideas of what we should call ourselves, I'd love to hear from you. The recent meeting that was held on the 22nd, a few days ago, Headley came out with the minutes, and all these names were on that agenda. We haven't a clue what we're going to call ourselves. But I know this, that the Lord is on our side. So whatever we call ourselves, it would reflect the kind of people that are in the church. We love the Lord. We love being part of God's worship team. We love the people that are in it. We are inspired, but guess what? We also have the leader of the ACC at our church. How cool is that? And we would like to say thank you very much to Headley, to Mia, to Tony for their leadership, for bringing us all under the foot of the cross, because that's where it's at. Yeah? Without the blood, there is no forgiveness of. Amen.
So just for clarification, I haven't seen this man before.
Three more. Top one, and move it to a target.
Could I share with people why we chose the name Cornerstone?
Any suggestions we should also call ourselves?
You are welcome. Actually, I was asked by our congregation, some of our members, if we could share this with you tonight, and so it is our privilege. And we certainly don't have a copyright on the name. So if any churches want to call themselves Cornerstone Christian Church at Malulaba or anywhere else, you would be welcome. We would love to share that name with you. We chose that name after a very long process, and it actually wasn't one of the names we first looked at. But when we looked at it, we believe that the church is built on Jesus Christ as our cornerstone, and we are built into his body. And that reference comes from, I believe it's 1 Peter chapter 2, where it talks about Christ as our cornerstone. So we wanted to be known as the church that was built on Jesus Christ, first, foremost, and totally. We wanted to use the name Christian because we wanted to understand that as a people of God, we stand humbly in that tradition. It means to be a Christ one. It is a very high calling, although it is a name that is often broadly and widely and badly used. But it is the highest calling that we should seek to be known by our Lord Jesus Christ. And so we seek the Christ ones. And the third part of it is church. Church means to be called out of this world, to be called out from sin, to be called out from a life without meaning into the fellowship and the family of God. And in the church, there is no Jew nor Greek. There is no slave. slave nor free. There is no male nor female, but we are one in Christ. And we are brothers and sisters with all of you together. And so that's why we are Cornerstone. We are built on Christ, following Jesus Christ as the people called out to him. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Maybe a good time for you to enjoy the time of care.